Kia ora tātou. Welcome back to the Wargaming Den. Another game of Kings of War for you this week. In today's game, my Elves are going to take on Gordon's Kingdoms of Men army. The mission we're going to be playing is Smoke and Mirrors, which is one of my favourite missions, even though I've only played it maybe 2 or 3 times. So let's have a look at the army lists. Let's have a look at my elf list this week. Again, it's 2,000 points. That's the point total we tend to play down here in the South Island of New Zealand. Not too dissimilar to the list I took to Southcon. I'm still getting to grips with the elves and don't want to change things up too much, but I have tweaked the list a wee bit, as you'll see. So starting with the 2 Palace Guard regiments, I really like the way the regiment size units play with these guys. I may try the Horde at some point in future, but I find the regiments to be pretty solid. I've continued with the Sea Guard Horde, but I've given them the Hammer of Measured Force. Hopefully it'll help if they get into the grind to against higher defense units. So that's the thought process behind that anyway. The Quicksilver Lancers, which is the upgraded Stormwind Cavalry, which has Nimble, and I've swapped the Silver Breeze to a regular unit of Stormwind Cavalry. The way I was using them in the tournament, I was trying to throw them in as a support unit into melee more than shooting them. So I think the Stormwind is going to suit the style of play that I seem to be developing at present. The Drakon Rider Horde continues, and this time they've got the Potion of the Caterpillar. I've taken the Elven King, and he's got the Sharp Blade. He has somehow lost his horse though. Couldn't really squeeze the 35 extra points in, so he's on foot this time. Mainly using him more like a glorified standard bearer is how I see him being used in this game. We'll see how that works out. I've continued with the 2 Drakon Lords. I really like the models and the way they play on table. Only 5 attacks, so they need to get in flanking positions ideally, and supporting one of the other main units as well. So yeah, good fun unit to use. I like the way they play. And I've continued with the 2 wizards. Both have got lightning bolt and one's got the inspiring talisman. So I've got 11 units and 20 unit strength. And let's now have a look at Gordon's Kingdoms of Men list. He's changed it quite a bit since from the list he took to Southcon. He's continued with the 3 regiment of pike, but this time he's added 2 regiments of knights, one of which has Jesse's Boots and Indomitable Will, which many people say is probably one of the best rules in the game when it comes to tweaking particular army lists. He's got 2 troops of mounted scouts. Both have got the black powder weapon, so they've got piercing 1. He continues with only 1 wizard on a Pegasus this time. It's got the inspiring talisman. It tends to be used as sacrifice and as chaff quite often. The 3 of them were a real pain in that regard. He's down to 2 generals on a winged beast, 1 less than he usually takes, but he's included the monarch, or winged monarch, basically a general on a dragon type creature. So again, lots of flying from Gordon's list. The pike regiments are going to be dangerous for my cavalry and my drakons, but also he's got those flying units that he likes to get into flanking and rear attack positions. So different from the list he usually takes, but should be a good game. So let's move on and have a look at deployment. Okay, so as I said, the mission is Smoke and Mirrors. So there's a number of objectives which are hidden, and we turn them over at the start of, at the end of each turn from turn 1. So as it turns out, Gordon put 1 unit, 1 victory point token here. He put another 1 here and his 2 point down here. So that's the kind of area he's wanting to capture. So as you can see, his deployment reflects that with his pikes out wide, but all his knights and most of his flyers concentrated here. Of course, I didn't know which were the live tokens, which ones were worth 0 points at this stage, and he just put a single general over here. Gordon uses the item that lets him redeploy things, and I think his captain lets him redeploy things. So I deploy, he deploys, he moves his shit around, and I ignore it basically. I just when I'm playing Kings of War, it may not be the ideal tactic, but I go into a game with a really good idea of how I want to deploy my army depending on the mission and where the objectives are, and I deploy based on that. I try not to look at what the opponent is doing. Maybe there are times when I miss a few matchups, but for me, I'd rather have my army focus the way I want it to focus, going for the objectives I want to, rather than reacting to my opponent. And with an army like Gordon's, he'll then redeploy anyway. So it seems to work semi-okay for me. Other people might disagree with that way of playing, but it kind of works. So anyway, my objectives, I had the 2-point token here in front of the sea guard, just over halfway, 1 point just behind the wood here, and the other 1 point I put down there. So basically, we are looking to do opposite things. Gordon's really going to put pressure on this on my left flank as he takes those objectives. I'm trying to capture the center and the right side of the table, looking at it from my side of the board. So with regards to my deployment, I put a Drakon Lord out behind this big building here, Palace Guard forward, and I've got the Stormwind and the ones in blue here, actually the Quicksilver Lancers, tucked in behind so that they can kind of counter charge. Drakons can look over the Seaguard Horde, and the Seaguard Horde are just going to advance through the pond and stuff, and I've made sure that they've got as much difficult going as possible to advance through. So maybe that wasn't such a wise idea, but there you have it. So that's our deployment. So let's move on, have a look at the game itself. And here we go. I got the first turn. Gordon won the dice roll, made me go first. Maybe it's because he knows that I prefer to go second. Pushed the Palace Guard into the wooded area here, hoping that they were going to screen my flank a bit with all these mounted sergeants and knights and flying things coming through this way. I thought grabbing the wood's probably not a bad way to defend from that. Drakons pushed forward. Seaguard pushed forward as well. Not really a lot in my turn. Drakon moved up. A bit of shooting, needing sixes, and maybe a lightning bolt if I was lucky, and I did maybe 1 or 2 wounds on one of the pike units. I decided the defense 4, so my Sea Guard were going to spend as much time as they could softening those up as the game progressed. And here we can see Gordon's response, moving over towards this hill to counter my deployment first moves. His sneaky flyer has come in here and has got angles to try and hit my units in the flank. Gordon is really good at working his flying units down the flank. I keep watching him play out. I really need to focus on doing that a lot better, because he's always putting pressure on, threatening units, forcing things to turn. His various shooting units over here and his wizard put 3 wounds on the Palace Guard. So early round sparring, really. And just a quick view of the battle lines forming. So here's my Palace Guard over here, Stormwind, Palace Guard, and the Quicksilver Lancers are just popping onto the hill to see if there's anyone worth charging. And let's have a look at turn 2. It was an interesting turn, actually, even though it's early in the battle and we're still quite a way away from each other. I sent my Drakon Lord over this way. I figured with his flyers, I wasn't going to be able to get over there, so I decided I was going to ignore that token and try and win one of the other ones if I could. Because he's got his monarch, he's got a general, he's got a wizard, so the chances of him being able to get over there and take it I decided were a bit high for me. Pushed forward, continued shooting with the Sea Guard at the pike unit, did a few more wounds, and I think it may have been a wizard here, down here, that general that was turning my flank. I decided to, after much indecision, turn the Drakons to face that general, hoping he was probably going to fly over the top of me or do something annoying, or try and get into the flank of think Gordon said he was going to go after the Quicksilver Lancers, as it turned out. But anyway, hit him with a couple of lightning bolts. Did only a couple of wounds, but rolled a double six, so wavered him. So that was really fortuitous for me. And so Gordon, in his turn, retreated further back into that wood to try and protect his general as best he could. So that was pretty lucky for me. I think I got this pike up to about 6 or 7 wounds by now. In return, Gordon put about 6 wounds on my Palace Guard with various shooting units of his. So both my Palace Guard units are taking a few wounds, and also he flew his other general up into this area again to get him behind my flanks and start trying to cause a bit of mischief in his turn. So still early days, but the battle is definitely progressing. And this is my turn 3. So the Palace Guard had taken 6 wounds. They've moved up on top of the hill, and with the Drakon had charged and killed a pike unit here. The Palace Guard, who were in the woods and had taken 3 wounds in the first turn, they charged out and killed a mounted guard. Maybe not the world's best trade-off, but I figured out here they were going to take a charge from something, and hopefully that would give one or other of my cavalry units a chance to countercharge. And the Silver Breeze have turned and are facing this way, and I think they'd put a few wounds on that pike unit there. I decided that their pike units were the best targets for my my Sea Guard. And just a close up of the combat there, the Palace Guard make short work of the pike unit going into the combat. They'd had 5 or 6 wounds already, so Palace Guard just chopped through those nice and easily. And here we have Gordon's response. My Palace Guard, who I had sent forward to be sacrificed to try and slow down the knights, are hit in the front by 2 regiments of knights, and then just to add to their misery, they were hit in the flank by a pike unit. So they weren't there at the end of the turn. And here we have Gordon's response. There's the combat going on over there with the Palace Guard. He's tucked the wizard, I think it is, or the general maybe, in behind the mounted scouts who have charged my Stormwind cavalry. The beauty of the way he's done his deployment here is most of my units are in the front arc, but there's no room for any of my units to get in to engage the general or the wizard. And so that's sorry, it is the general, because here's the wizard here who's done something similar to block the lines of sight from the Drakon and from the Quicksilver Lancers as well. So Gordon's quite adept at positioning his flying units to minimize chances for counterattacks, and also using his wizards as chaff to try and prevent line of sight and charges taking place. So the battle is definitely building in this area here. Token has now been revealed as a 2, and that's close to where the heart of the fighting is. We are definitely fighting over this hill. My Sea Guard are here, just plinking away when they get the opportunity, but I also know that just behind them is a token worth 2 victory points, so I'm not going to send them over onto the hill as well. I need them to stay around that objective for the remainder of the game. Okay, bit of action in turn 3. I killed a general that was unfortunate to get himself double 6 wavered. And then over here I killed some pike, and then Gordon has killed a unit of sacrificial Palace Guard over there. So we're just getting into the thick of the hand-to-hand fighting. Objectives, we've got 1 here, 2 here, there's 1 the corner over there so far. I think the only ones that have been exposed. And some of the action in Gordon's turn 4. What's going on here? He's charged the Stormwind. He's charged his pike into the Quicksilver Lancers. His general has charged, I think, into the flank of my Palace Guard and killed them, and I'd managed to waver that pike unit. So things are getting pretty brutal. So my Palace Guard are fighting here. No, it must have been the general taking on the Drakon Lord, maybe, but my Quicksilver Lancers in a spot of bother because they're hitting on 5s against the pike, and my other Stormwind Cavalry are in a bit of trouble against the Knights and the Monarch as well. And a bit of an overview at the end of that turn. So the Drakon Horde had moved back this way now to maybe fly over and support. What I should have probably done is just move them on a bit of a different angle over here, because there's 2 objectives there and I'm moving away from them in the hope that I might be able to fly over here. I'd also sent my Drakon was over here, but I was worried about the general coming through and taking him out. I tempted to move him back over there to take that objective, but decided to fly him into the flank of the pike unit here instead, which turned out to be a bit of a mistake. However, my suicidal Elven King had charged some knights, doing a couple of wounds, disordering them, and then he himself in return got wavered, but he is holding up that unit of knights by himself. Okay, very interesting turn 4. We've got an objective there. There's an objective under there. I charged with my king, and he survived the counter charge. The Kingdoms of Men charged in over here, killed my Stormwind with knights and the general on their cool beast, the Monarch I think it's called, and a few combats over here. So very much in the balance. So 2, 3, 4 points over this way. And so far we've got a 2 under the Drakons, a 1 over there, and Gordon's already guessed that the last one is there. So who can get the tokens? That's going to be the question on turn. And another look at my turn 5. The Drakon Lord, it's over here. I think he might have been hit in the flank by some knights on Gordon's turn. Combat's going on in here. It's a bit of a major brawl going on over the hill actually, and I'm not sure how it's going to turn out, but the Monarch is near an objective worth 2 points, and there's another objective, as I said earlier, in the far corner as well, and these knights have got another 1 point objective. So Gordon's currently sitting on 3 over here. I've got 1 just in near my Seaguard, and my Drakons have also got another one. So presently we're sitting at about 3-3. And so on turn 5, Gordon is sending his Monarch over this way to get that final objective. The Knights have killed my King. This objective is open, but Gordon's got units that can redeploy, and he's got me a bit stuck here, and my Drakons are fighting against that general from the front and from the flank. So this Drakon, really, I should have sent him back that way to grab the objective. The Drakons are just backing up at 5 inches a turn to get in range of that objective. Seaguard is sitting on that one, but I haven't got time in the last turn to turn and then move over that way to grab that one. So I've cocked things up a wee bit unless there's a turn 7. Okay, interesting turn 5. Lots of death and destruction. Still fighting over the hill, but these are the key points down here. an objective, another objective, third objective there. So there's 4 points that Gordon's trying to seal, and I'm only going to have 3. Okay, and here we go, turn 6. So my units are sitting back to hold on to objectives. My wizards have been trying to lightning bolt things, but not doing enough damage. The pikes here have prevented the Drakon from doing too much. So Gordon has well and truly got the game under control and in the bag 4-3 at this point, because I committed my Drakons to trying to kill his general as opposed to going back to hold the objective. Whoops. Okay, bottom of turn 6, and Gordon has just taken it 4-3 in a very closely fought game. It was a great finish. He just moved down here to grab that 2 objective, flew over here for a 1, took a 1 here, whereas I had a 2 under here and a 1, and unfortunately I left that one over there free. So 4-3. Victory to the Kingdoms of Men, 4-3. And here we have it from the deployment point of view again. Really enjoyed this game. As you can see, Gordon's objectives were there. Mine were all over there. So he went for his ones here, and I kind of went for those ones over there, though got kind of sucked into fighting on the top of this hill. It was a really good game. Gordon, yeah, I got really lucky early on with the general wavering him. Otherwise, he was going to whiz round and cause all kinds of trouble. Gordon thought he was on the back foot on the first 2 or 3 turns. I didn't think that at all. But what I was happy with was I was actually making him think a lot, and I felt that I was giving him a good close combat. Some of our earlier games while I was learning Kings of War made a few too many mistakes. I still make more mistakes than I probably should, but I am improving. I really like watching and learning from how Gordon positions units. Like in this game, his positioning of units to prevent them being charged was exceptional, and I really enjoy watching, and I've got to not just take on board, I've got to start practicing some of those things myself. But throughout the game, I thought I was in with a good chance. It was close. If you look at battle points, there was only about 100 points in it. I think I had 1,100 points on table, and Gordon had about 1,000 still. So we didn't really commit all our forces. His monarch got involved with one combat and then went and grabbed the objectives. My Drakon Lord riders only took out the general and then stayed back defending the objectives as well. So it was interesting that we didn't really commit all of our forces, but as I said, yeah, I felt that I was giving Gordon a good, tough game, a fair game, and a real fun game, but one where I was putting some pressure on him, and I think that's just an indicator that slowly but surely my skill at Kings of War is improving a wee bit. But as I've said before, I really enjoy using the elf army. It's very different to the ogres. Still just trying to tweak things to and that's, I think that's half the thing with me. I've got a good solid core, but there's usually 2-3 units I could just tweak this a bit or add that magic item and see how that goes. So Gordon tends to, he's trying around this time lots of different Kingdoms of Men armies, but what he tends to do is he focuses on one army, doesn't change it, just plays it till he's really, really comfortable with its strengths and weaknesses. Whereas each game, there's always, I could change this unit, drop this one out, see how this one goes. So the core of my army tends to stay very similar, but there's always 2 or 3 units that I'm tweaking with or changing, and that's just the style of gamer I am, I think. But anyway, thank you for watching this battle report. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you've got an opportunity to learn from some of my mistakes. But thanks for watching. Ka kite anō.